You've thought about hosting and it's an option for you, but you haven't signed up yet. What could be holding you back, and how do you get out of that middle ground? We're going to tackle what I feel are the two biggest hangups so we can get you closer to your decision. Jenny with Host Family Exchange Student Life, where we help you navigate through real life hosting and exchanging to help you create an extraordinary experience. Now imagine this. It's the night before your first student comes. The paperwork is signed, the room's ready, the fridge is stocked, but you're having second thoughts. Like, will my student like me? What do I do if they hate me? What if I forget something super important? What if they don't obey the rules? What if this teenager is a psychopath? Am I really ready to do this? Okay, if you didn't just click off the video with those scared to death thoughts, congratulations, you have the guts to take a step towards hosting. You see, those exact questions run through my head lying in bed each night before we show up to the airport to pick up our student. Every single time. True story. But I wasn't always this panicky welcoming someone from another country. If you've followed me for a while, you know that my parents hosted when I was a kid, and all of my memories are positive, except crying when I said goodbye and preparing a squid to eat. But fast forwarding 30 years, my husband and I were told about the opportunity to host on a Tuesday. We signed up, and by that Saturday, we had our first month-long student. Talk about jumping into the deep end. So, my hesitating host, I recognize your reasons for hosting come from different places than mine, but this opportunity could be great for you, and I wonder if you sense it too. That maybe it could be life-changing in a good way, or you might try it once and never again. You and I both know that you won't know until you go for it. I'm going to help you deconstruct two major hangups in order for you to feel more secure with your decision. The first hangup, can I connect with my student? Let's be honest. You're an established adult living your life, and then you want to turn it upside down to care for someone else's kid. Why do people do this? You don't want to feel like a stranger in your own home. So, connecting with this young person is imperative. You may also wonder about connecting through the language barrier. Can we talk to each other? Will it get easier? Another issue may be, will our cultures be the thing that cause problems? Another fear is wondering if you'll connect while one of you is an extrovert and the other one's an introvert. Or does the age difference seem to be confusing to connection? Maybe you're not sure how to work with a specific gender. You know what? In preparing this episode, I can feel how all of these reasons could stall anyone. And if I didn't scare you off by articulating your fear, congratulations again. You have the guts to care to connect. To address this connecting hangup is effective communicating is vital for safety and the relationship. And the language barrier does crumble over time. You know what? If you need Google Translate, it's accurate most of the time. Body language often speaks loudly too. Then, culture sharing. It can be a wonderful way to connect if both are willing. It can be actually a fun, unending topic of conversation. Let me tell you a story that shows the opposite though, one that didn't work. One year we had two students and they had a friend who was also an exchange student in another home. They met together one evening at her house to watch a celebration happening in their home country. During the program, which her host parents watched too, the parents made disparaging comments about their leader in politics. What? One of my students came home distraught and told me about how it made her feel. It may seem simple, but remarks about culture and their politics should be handled gently. Note taken. So what about your avertness? Because you've got some. Settle onto the idea that people are people and accepting and appreciating the intro or the extraness. It's not so much a worry when you take it slow and get to know each other. All in the family, they do get comfortable with the new normal. Then when the student leaves your home, it feels kind of weird and maybe a little empty. And then even major differences do exist, like they're passionate about underwater basket weaving, and it just gives you something to talk about and learn if you want, and to support them in. It's actually a win in connecting with differences. I mean, imagine attending a national underwater basket weaving competition to your bucket list. You will find things to connect over. But my caution is to not have too many expectations about what they are and how deep they'll go. For instance, maybe you're the underwater basket weaver and they are deathly afraid of water. Some things don't matter. Before I move on, a little story from one of our students. We had her the last 6 weeks of a school year. She joined in family dinners, and I had meaningful late-night conversations with her. But her mind was ready to be back home and figuring out her plans for her senior year. I appreciated her respect of family rules, and I'm sure she appreciated me not expecting her to connect with us, even though we were willing to spend time to learn more about her. If I can go a step further here, a deeper fear to your wondering about, your connecting, maybe, am I good enough? Is what I have to offer hosting material? I can tell you that people from all walks of life, ages, backgrounds, ethnicities, annual incomes, single or family structure, sexual orientations, religions, neighborhoods, etc., have never excluded a good, willing person. Who you are and what you have to offer is unique and more than enough. Plus, it would be exhausting to pretend you were something you weren't, but that's a different problem. You are good enough to be a host parent because you care. Before I move on to the second hang-up, I want to tell you a part of my past. When I experienced my most difficult interaction with one of my students, it caused a lot of questions and disconnect between us. It just strayed from our months-long established relationship, and it was hard. I wouldn't have chosen to go through it. It wasn't police-level activity or anything, but it hurt. I was upset. I was trying to figure out what went wrong. Was there something I wasn't clear about? Were my boundaries too strict? Her mom was involved, and I did feel kind of stuck for a solution. Time went by, and we were able to again talk about the situation, and we moved on just fine. We keep in touch with each other. My hosting was good enough. I don't know if that helps anyone listening. Just know that hosting is an adventure, and that particular situation helped me to grow and prepare me for my own teens. You ready for the second hang-up? Let's go. With communication fears in check, what about managing? Such as, are the requirements for me to host too much? And can I remember all of the information about how to do this? Also, can I manage another person's needs successfully? Time might seem a little short in my life already. And what about the expense of another person? Does my budget allow room for more water, electricity, and groceries? Managing these items are more on the logistical side, which definitely should be thought through. While I can't tell you about your budget, I recommend Mint.com. We've been using them since 2008. It's free, secure, and super easy to create and manage budgets as your transaction gets downloaded automatically. I'm not an affiliate, this is just sharing what we use. A word of caution to you here with budgets. Jumping into hosting without having a handle on your budget can turn you into a Scrooge, and that's not worth it. Back to managing. The requirements laid out by agencies to host are not a lot. Most of what you learn is common sense, and a once-over of the paperwork is good enough. Future questions can be asked directly to your coordinator or the agency. The next concern, managing transportation to stores and activities. How does that work? Well, you can learn from me with this story. After we'd hosted for a month and decided to do it again for the upcoming school year with 2 new students, what an adventure it was, in a lot of good ways. Yet, in a few ways, it became unbalanced. For one, it felt like I was making trips to the store a couple times a week, on top of my normal shopping. But I figured we had a store pretty close, so I didn't see it as a big deal. Wrong. By the end of the year, I was burnt out. These small trips were not sustainable, and I was beginning to be irritated. Also, they were asking for more of my driving time when normally they walked. So we took a much needed break from hosting after that year to chill and reevaluate. You can bet that when our next students came, one rule we put in place was I would take them to a store once a week, and it might happen when I'm already going, but if not, I needed a few days advance notice. With our agency, parents can also sign a waiver allowing them to use ride services. Some of our students have, and it's worked great. Things are now managed well for us in this department. In addition, you know I'm a proponent of family council, where once a week we get together to discuss everyone's schedule, who needs to be where and when. If you've never been a planner person, do yourself a favor, purchase a simple planner and practice planning your week. It'll help when you have a student and benefit your family for years to come. Okay, pulse check. If I haven't hit your hang up yet, please write it in the comments below. If I have addressed your managing concerns and you are still watching this video, let me tell you from experience, you have the guts to manage its requirements. Keep a hold of your budget and how you spend your need-to-go places time. If you begin doing any of these preparing for things, you've set yourself up a couple steps higher than us starting out. When you host, just embrace the chaos for a minute till everyone knows how things run and things do work themselves out. So you, My less than hesitant host, imagine this scenario with me. You wake up after a tentative night's sleep and write on a sign, "Welcome to the USA." The dread you felt last night is replaced with excitement and nervousness that signals that this might be a really great experience, and you're happy you went for it. At the airport, you search the faces of the young ones looking for their luggage to match the face that you have from the picture and description. This is it. After several minutes, you spot a teenager looking at you. Their face, unsure and nervous, just like you, recognize you from your picture, and you both smile. You walk towards each other, and the beginning of a connecting relationship happens in the most humblest of ways. And in your own unique way, you have become a host parent, as ready as you'll ever be to manage everything a day at a time. You're about to share your life with someone from across the globe with goodwill and a sense of adventure. Your new student can see it in your eyes that you care. And that's the most important thing. At the beginning of this video, you were worried hosting may not be for you, but you felt you needed to get off the fence about it. So, I think if you're still here watching, you've got the guts to be just fine. Even if you get a student that shouldn't be coming to anyone's house, they don't have to remain at your home. Most likely, you'll be glad you tried to host or not to host. That is your question to answer. I believe in you. Find peace in this world, and we'll connect soon. You walk towards each other. That's your student. Hi. And the beginning of a connecting relationship happens